Hello everybody, it's me, O'Neal Gerald. I actually have been listening to a wonderful song called R.E.M. A lot of people know it as Wake Up. It's actually a song that was leaked from Ariana Grande's new album Sweetener. But what happened was there's actually another artist that recorded R.E.M. before Ariana Grande had access to it, and that was Beyonce. So the nerd in me was kind of ticking away when I heard both of these versions. I really was excited to hear Ariana Grande's version when it came out. And when I did, I thought it would be an amazing way for us to draw a comparison. Not for the sake of saying who's better than who, but simply seeing what goes into making a Beyonce version of a song versus making an Ariana Grande version of a song. So let's talk about the differences between Beyonce's Wake Up and Ariana Grande's R.E.M. I think the way to open up this conversation would be to give a little bit of the images that I got when I was listening to the Beyonce version of R.E.M. versus the Ariana Grande version. Beyonce's voice has a little bit more of a tendency, not just because of her vocal makeup, but simply because of the styles that she sings. Her voice tends to be grounded. I'll get you on my mind. This grounded approach to singing kind of gave me the idea of a sorceress. When I think of a sorceress, I think of somebody like Storm from X-Men, a very strong, present character with lots of power. And I got that from Beyonce's performance. Her voice was very thick, it was very connected, and we were getting into the mid-lows of her range, so we were still in a little bit of her sweet spots. Now with Ariana Grande's version, I'm hearing a little bit more of a fairy-like approach. Think Tinkerbell. Light, a little bit smaller, but still very, very bright. If you can believe. Hopefully this kind of gets the point across. Beyonce was giving us more thunderous power while Ariana Grande was giving us more ethereal power. Now another way that we can talk about Beyonce's darker, grounded version of R.E.M. is talk about her vocal onset and offset. When I make the sound ah ah ah, that's me giving a harder vocal onset. But then there are some times when I can have a more gentle onset where it's ah or ah. I'm leading with my vocal fry. The first one was hard, the second one was more gradual. When we talk about vocal offset, we're simply talking about the release. Are we stopping the air or are we allowing the sound to gently fade away? Versus ah. Now the way that Beyonce approached this song was very much hard onset and hard offset. The place that we can really hear this in Beyonce's voice is when she sings nobody but I do. Nobody but I do. Between each of those syllables, Beyonce is putting an intentional space. And those spaces are created by the hard onsets and the hard offsets. Now Ariana Grande not only has softer onsets and softer offsets, but she's also connecting a lot more of the lines in R.E.M. than Beyonce is. Nobody but I do. Nobody but I do. She's connecting the lines and allowing her voice to gently fade away instead of just cutting it off short. Now another thing to talk about in the approach to a Beyonce song and an Ariana Grande song is layering, vocal layering. I talk about vocal layering in one of my FL tutorials. And all the glory's gotta go to you, oh Lamb of God. It would be really cool for you to check that out to understand what's happening now. When we hear Ariana Grande's version, we're hearing a simple pass between the two notes. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Also, Ariana Grande is disconnecting the K in Wake Up from the WA. So she's saying way, and then she's connecting the K to the up. Wake up. Now with Beyonce, we're not only getting her singing a very hard consonants, and the K is like explosive out of nowhere. Wake. We're also hearing Beyonce sing the same line but an octave above. And not just an octave above, but in a lighter head voice approach. Wake up, wake up. And another thing that Beyonce likes to do with her timbre specifically is she likes to make it a little bit more airy. So we're hearing a lot more air, not just in her timbre, but also in the offset of the wake ups. Wake up, wake up. Now this is just on Beyonce's part. Beyonce is a master of timbral manipulation. She is able to use her tone in many different ways. She doesn't just use one tone ever. She's always using different levels of her tone for different lines for different reasons. And so going throughout the song, we are hearing Beyonce switch to more disconnected tones to more forward, fully closed tones. And the best place to really hear that with Beyonce is actually in the intro that she actually added before the actual song begins. So she starts a little bit more closed, don't wanna, and then she disconnects a little bit, or actually just like lifts the connection just a little bit, way, whatever she does. And then we have those na-na-na-na-nas that are coming down. So she's moving in and out of the closure of her vocal folds to communicate different emotions. Awesome. Now the harmony is actually where we get a little bit more of an inside look at the minds of Ariana Grande and Beyonce. Now going back to this fairy sorceress analogy, Ariana actually ends up adding a nice bum 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 line that actually gives off a little bit more of this fairy-like ethereal approach to R.E.M. Now talking about this more closed, grounded, thunderous version of R.E.M, Beyonce actually adds some very, very low harmonies in saying, how is it a secret if I know you're gonna peep it?
How is it a secret if I know you're gonna peep it?
What this tells me is that the two of them had very different paths that they wanted to take the song. And not only did they just want to do different things, but they were going for things that were more in their own styles. Beyonce in her vocal delivery, it tends to be even almost rapish. She's been that way since Bugaboo.
It's not hot that you be calling me, stressing me, paging my people, you're just nonstop.
Think about it. And Ariana Grande is like that when she's soaring up in her ad-libs, like in Into You. And I talked about Into You. I really like that song, continue to like that song, and that should have been the song of the summer in 2016, but I digress. Now stay with me. I think this is probably one of the biggest things that somebody would have noticed in the way that Beyonce sang and Ariana Grande sang. Ariana Grande, when she sang R.E.M, was taking a straight 8th note approach. So if this is the beat of R.E.M, da 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 da, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, nobody but I do.
Like that nobody but I do.
Now Beyonce did something completely different. Beyonce swung the 8th. Swung 8ths are triplets that are broken down. I'll show you. Dig it, 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, nobody but I do.
Like that nobody but I do.
And you're hearing that rhythmic treatment all the way through when Beyonce is singing and when Ariana Grande is singing throughout the entire song. And that's a big make or break in distinguishing the sound between Ariana Grande and Beyonce. Now the last thing I want to talk about is Tessitura, because I think that Beyonce had a really big advantage in creating this song, because the song was written in a key that fit her voice very well. She was probably in the mid-lows of her range, while Ariana Grande, in singing the song in the same key and not lifting it in any way, was actually in her lows. So she didn't have a lot of wiggle room in terms of really manipulating around the melody like Beyonce did. And that's simply because their voices are built differently. What was interesting to me is when I saw Ariana Grande go on Jimmy Fallon to sing a little bit of R.E.M, she actually raised the key of the song from A flat major to B major. And that's a full minor third of a jump. That's actually that's a lot. So to me that says that there could have been a lot more of an entire world of difference that could have come if the song was raised to B major. Cool, huh? So yeah, thank you for taking the trip inside of my mind. This is what I'm thinking about when I'm listening to music, and hopefully it's what you're starting to think about now that I've sort of kind of explained things to you. And if you want to continue to think that way, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like this video, but subscribe to this channel because this is the place where we think deeply to create art that changes the world. I'm O'Neil Gerald, and I'll see you in another video. Bye everyone.